Look, I understand the fascination with things that transform. Like, I totally get it. Cars, trucks, planes, dinosaurs, rocks. In the 80s and 90s, we really liked to transform stuff, so on paper, this might have made sense. Okay, in all honesty, it never made sense, but we still kind of loved it, and that's why today on Rewind Toys, we're going to be telling you all about the Computer Warriors. Released by Mattel in 1989, Computer Warriors, that would be Computer Force for our friends in Europe and the UK, they lasted, less than 2 years, really. Now, you might be asking yourself why they only lasted 2 years, and you're probably going to be able to figure that out for yourself by the time we're done with this. There was no cartoon series, although there was a pilot episode called Computer Warriors: The Adventure Begins. There was no comic book. It just was. For those of you who remember the Computer Warriors, they were odd things that transformed into other odd things. It's kind of tough to say anything specific right now because it wasn't anything specific. Mostly it was like office supplies. There was a calculator that turned into a tank and a pencil sharpener that turned into a jet. Then there was a Pepsi can that became a hover jet and a trophy that became a radar vehicle. I'll get back to all of that in a moment. But first, I want to tell you the plot behind this toy series, toy line, whatever. It's confusing. It really is. This story was inspired by the popularity of transforming toys and the rising computer technology. It was the early 90s, people, so, A top secret government computer unleashes a computer virus via 4 AI beings: Megahertz, Null, Index, who we know is evil because his name was written with 2 X's and not 1. It's double X. It's evil. And Minus. But the computer, it decides it needs to fight back. So it creates 4 antivirus programs. There's ROM, Grid, Micron, and Scanner. Through some wacky events, all these programs and viruses, they find themselves trapped in the real world where they are forced to hide in everyday items. As the bad guys try to get back into the computer so they can take it over and thus control the world, the Computer Warriors, they try and stop them. It's as simple as that. So I wish I could single out a specific person that came up with this idea, but I cannot. From what I can find, this was developed in-house by Mattel's design team. So probably a group of people who first said, let's make it weird things like a Pepsi can. I don't know. Kind of like to meet that person, though. Like to know what was going through their brain, because I'm sure it's an interesting place. It must be. The toy line consisted of 12 sets. There were the 4 basic sets, 6 transforming vehicle sets, and 2 larger play sets. The basic were the easiest to find, and so for collectors, the easiest to get today. Now, each set came with a figure. I mentioned the Pepsi can. Well, that came with the Grid figure. The trophy, MVP, came with Null. The pencil sharpener, Leadhead, had Minus, and the calculator, Add All, a figure named Decoder. Now, this is a good time to tell you that the cartoon only introduced 8 characters, but more were intended, and so we shall see them now. Next up, a clock named Timelatel, which turned into a Synchro Blaster and featured Micron. There was Beamer the flashlight with Scanner, a book that turned into an evil base, that one had Index, and a computer that came with Cursor and Chip. That computer was Parallax, and it turned into a good guy base. Then there were those 4 basics, and they came with a circuit board that could unfold and turn into a glider. That was ROM, Megahertz, Debug, and Async. I want to ask you guys a real quick favor. This is a weird episode, but a lot of our episodes are weird. And some of you keep coming back, so I know for a fact that a lot of you watch haven't subscribed. So if you got maybe a second, it's free. maybe just, you could go down and hit subscribe. It would be really awesome of you to do that. So take just a second, hit subscribe. And if you have one more second, maybe hit that thumbs up. All of that helps the show a lot. And we hope to see you back here again next week. But let's finish out this episode on the Computer Warriors, shall we? There was a short production on these toys, and we've discussed this in the past, but that means they're harder to find. Now, they are out there, but they aren't everywhere, so they will cost you if you find them. A loose figure can go for $10 to $20, and harder to find objects like a complete Pepsi can could be over $100 or more. Now, I remember these, and there are those of you like me who do, but there are those, probably a lot of you, who do not remember these. Still, I know that when collectors see them and they hear about them, they really want them because they're weird and obscure, and we like weird and obscure things. It just sort of goes with the world of collecting. So what happened to the Computer Warriors? Well, Mattel canceled them because they just weren't selling, and they likely weren't selling for a couple of reasons. The first is no cartoon, no series, nothing really pointing kids in their general direction, which kind of leads to the second reason. What are you supposed to do with a pencil sharpener when it isn't a vehicle? How do you play with that? You don't. It's pretty much just going to be sitting there. Most kids aren't going to be walking through a toy aisle and be like, wow, a calculator. Not the ones that don't get beat up a lot anyway. Now, they are super kitschy and very nostalgic and very fun now for those of us who want a cool display, but kids don't want to play with a digital clock, even if it did actually function. Also, the flashlight looked kind of inappropriate. I'm sure my 12-year-old brain would have thought the same thing that I'm thinking today. That being said, I would love to own the Pepsi can and also Parallax, the computer. I wouldn't mind because they were so corny and they do look so weird that they would make great display pieces. Not as much fun to play with, but great on display. Anyway, guys, there you go. The Computer Warriors. If my earlier pleas weren't enough, please push that subscribe button real quick. We'll keep telling you all about these weird toys if you keep coming back. Also, we're working on a website here soon. I don't know when it'll be up, but I'll have links to my Mercari and my maybe my whatnot. I don't know. I sell some vintage toys on the side, and I got some cool stuff out there. It just sort of happens when you collect, and I kind of need to get rid of some of the extras and things that I just pick up along the way. So if you're interested, you can check that out when it's available. We're on Instagram, and we're on Facebook, and yeah, that's about it. I appreciate you guys being here, and until next we chat, remember, when it comes to obscure tech-inspired toys, the hunt is still half the fun.